This
You're
is
great. Aussie was getting up to receive his award, and you played the classical music to get him off stage. Is what
no.
you
I
did.
played it because I want people to hear that we talk about stuff other than just crypto because it's contextually relevant, man. Like
All
knowing
right.
what's going on with real estate and all that.
So yeah. So you guys were telling me to pull the plug on it. I was
Yeah.
feeling a little bit like I might want to pull the plug on it depending on how different things came in. But we were having some conversations, especially my dad and I were having a lot of conversations, and the amount of acreage that I'm buying that's actual productive acreage. So like agriculturally, like you can use it for farming. It's good land. It's actually quite good land. For the price that I got it, especially in the area that I am, with a river in the back too, like you just can't get it you could never get it for the price that I'm getting it right now. And that has to do with interest rates and the state of the house.
So let's tie this into crypto real quick. Is crypto a means to an end of another life you want to live? Or are you in crypto for crypto to everybody? That's to everybody.
I'll start us off since I was the one talking. I mean, yes and no. I'm in crypto is a means to an end in terms of like I do want like farming is a huge passion of mine and I do want to be able to do that and that's very capital intensive and time consuming and everything and so being able to set up lines passive income through crypto either through ETH node validators and otherwise is part of the reason why I'm in crypto and probably the original reason why I got into crypto. But I've fallen in love with the tech, the community, and everything about crypto so that even when I do achieve that, I don't think I will ever walk away because I think that there's a lot that this space can bring. And I love creating content about the space and everything that's going on there. And so I don't think I'll ever leave crypto just because of this other life.
That's a big claim. Jarrett, are you in crypto for crypto or are you in crypto for a means to an end to another life?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm just ready to go off in the woods, delete all my socials, and
What?
memorize my seed phrase and bye. Bye. You know why? Because I spend way too many of my like neurons. I don't know if they're neurons. What are they? Neurons, electrons?
Maybe.
That's
There are
whatever. Sure.
neurons where your hand is pointing.
Neurons,
So, yeah.
electrons that build the atoms in my head. So that, and I saw this the other day, and it was the most fire thing I'd seen on X. But I was also like, what am I doing with my life? Like, why is this my life? Why is this where I look and I giggle now by myself? And it was it was Ben Armstrong's tweet where he tags his now ex-wife and his current mistress, where he says, sometimes in life you make mistakes you can't undo. Sad to tell you that at Bethany Literary, his current or now ex-wife, and I are getting a divorce. She filed divorce papers for me today. In the same tweet, my man says, to get it out of the way so there are no questions, yes, I am with the Duchess of DeFi. And I'm just like, this is the space I'm in. What am I doing with my life? Like,
no, that is
I
not
can
the
do
space
other
you're
things.
in. That's not the space you're in because he's in jail and has been pushed
not
off
in
of his
jail.
own show. Okay, he's not in jail anymore, but he's got pushed out of his own show about crypto that he created and that he still owns a significant portion of.
He owns a significant amount, apparently, of the LLC or whatever, the S corp, whatever they have. That's what he said on a space. But anyways, point is, I am excited to go to a place where I have hydroponics already. I eat from the land. I'm very into buying land with water. It's the only land I want. Any other land won't matter in like 10 to 15 years, the way we're headed. So, yeah, I'm definitely excited to disappear. One day I will just, you'll get a postcard. It will be kind of like Shawshank Redemption. You'll get a postcard from Mexico, and you guys will just have to remember the name of the town. So,
aren't you just gonna? I thought you were just gonna like build a little like bomb shelter on my lot. I thought that was what was gonna happen.
Nope, I don't want to get. Nope.
You don't want to. You don't want to go to Canada.
No, Canada's already blocking a lot of its media, and I've seen what they do to people that protest. They like try to block their bank accounts. So, and it's cold. So,
Jacki,
sorry,
Jacki.
Canada.
Let's hear from Jacki. Jacki, means to an end of an alternate lifestyle. Or are you in it for the crypto?
I don't even have an answer, I guess. I mean, like,
She's been thinking too. She's been sweating. Like it's
no,
coming to me.
no, I
Grant's
mean,
gonna ask me.
it's interesting. Like I was actually thinking last night, I had this like revelation thinking about the show and like what we do here and all that stuff. And I was like, I think maybe I just need to be honest about like more honest about where I'm at with this stuff and what I'm personally doing. I think you guys know, my pension from my former employer just recently got bought out. They bought me out. So I have this like lump sum of money to do something with. And I went to my financial advisor and he's looking at me like, so, where are you working now? And I'm like, who I work with, whatever. And he's like, why are you here? And I was like thinking to myself, why am I sitting with a financial advisor right now? Like, I know what to do with this money. So I feel like I've had one foot in, one foot out. I got into crypto via blockchain because it was solving business solutions. And I never believed crypto was going to like take off in the way people believed in the monetization part of it. But I always knew blockchain and distributed ledger was the future. I knew decentralization was the future. So I think for me, like, that's why I'm in it, because I really do feel blessed to be in this moment in time. Like there's a lot of things changing and we're setting up the next, 100 years of industry and what life is going to revolve around. And I think right now it looks a lot like probably solar and battery and wind, and whether we agree with those things, whether we think there's nuclear will probably be in there. But the name of the game of planet Earth is, how do we harvest energy? How do we get it? How do we store it? How do we distribute it? So, I mean, I guess I'm in crypto because crypto will be the native token for how we do those things. So
Yeah, it's going to become Go ahead, Jarrett.
Yeah, Grant, if I may, I want to build on Jacki. I mean, obviously, I'll probably never be fully off grid or just disappear like that. I have too many connections from all around the world, and I just have too many people in my network that like I eventually want to see. I think crypto is a means to the end, in the sense that like crypto is a really cool conversation, because I feel like being a part of the crypto community, and that looks like a billion different things literally to every single person, it's going to allow all of us to kind of travel and meet people that we probably never would have met or spoken with, but now we're getting the opportunity just because we have this one thing in common. And for me, as like a Bitcoiner, there's a lot of things about Bitcoin maxis I don't agree with. Politically, we're probably not on the same side. I don't eat steak dinner every night. I don't own guns. This is what's like portrayed on the internet, but there's a whole other side of Bitcoin that's like, how do we help people in Buenos Aires to not literally go underwater because their currency is devaluing at like 40% a week or something right now. Like it's really out of control if we think about like high inflation. So I do think long term, like if we zoom out in 20 years, we will all have been a part of a moment in, as Jacki was saying, this new iteration of the world that's going to be really fun to look back on. And it will probably all take us in way different directions. Like if you had asked Grant when we started the show, would I be working for a Bitcoin mining company? Yeah. I would have said, absolutely. I just couldn't have even fathomed it. And that was math 22 months ago, or 20 months ago, so world moves really fast, and crypto should take all of us professionally and personally, probably to places that we can't wrap our head around, even within the next 24 months. Not just as a show, but like as individuals. And like I met Jacki a little more than a year now ago, and when she came on More Than Blockchain, and even now where she is starkly different than where she was professionally and personally. And I do think a lot of that is due to crypto, because I think the one thing about crypto and the one thing about Bitcoin or NFTs or that is it constantly puts a question in front of you, which is how we're doing things the best way. And sometimes it actually is. And like Web3 solutions are solutions looking for a problem, but sometimes they're not. And it exposes you to new ways of thinking, and it really forces you to internally like figure out, oh, wow, this is different. So I think it will always play a part in whoever I continue to be professionally and personally. But Grant, now, what is crypto for you? Are you here for the Lambos? Are you here for your fake green wall in the back? Even though I don't know, it might be real. You're in Florida. It's a swamp. What brings you to crypto? Because you have been in crypto, Grant, the longest. So what originally brought you, and is there a moment in the future where you think you're just trying to use this to go somewhere else?
Crypto the original thesis was my path to transcending the American financial system in 2011. And in 2012, I was looking deeply for it. 2013 is when I finally jumped in, and it had all of that promise. I think I missed that window, and I personally don't believe we will see that. Like, not that I'm grieving that, that's kind of the system, right? Like a financial instrument or tokenization, that's kind of the way it goes. I'm glad I got in early because I rode that wave, but I was in for the philosophical gesture of freedom, financial freedom being a big financial freedom being a big core value, and financial freedom as a means to an end of just autonomy. I just want continuous autonomy. And these days, I don't know if I want to live on a commune or a homestead. It sounds divine, but I'm just so people-oriented and impact-oriented. I kind of want to land in that world, but then to launch and catapult me into the fray. I want to go where the fight is. And to me, crypto is still where the fight is on the financial front, and not to be tone deaf to what's going on in the Middle East, but the financial fight is still on, crypto is still on the forefront of that. And I do believe for the diehards, it's a losing battle. But I believe it's a battle worth fighting until it's over. And because I think we still need to shape this as this becomes institutionalized, and I think that's inevitable and good, ultimately. But I do think crypto will be a part of our lives no matter what going forward. And I did not foresee that when I started. When I first started, I really thought this was the breakaway moment and this will stay revolutionary till the bleeding end. I do believe every revolution that will start in the future will start with cryptocurrencies and crypto technologies. But in the end, I think they will all kind of have the same story arc. So my goals have changed. And I do think it will be a part. Is it an alternate lifestyle? Yes. But is it for crypto? Like, am I in it for the crypto? I'm in it for the crypto philosophy and spirit. So I don't know, kind of roundabout answer. Boom. So is everyone's bags up enough that you could check out?
Oh
Not
God.
even close. But my bags were never big to begin with.
Jacki groaned from a mile away.
I think the other part of this journey is, we've all had to cash out at points, things we didn't want to cash out,
Same.
pay bills, do whatever in life. And sometimes it's frustrating to know where everything's going and just not have, pulled the trigger or done the things, a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And like the energy gets so, like, once you feel the bull coming, it's like you just feel like you're missing out every minute. And there was like, I did a brief stint with like margin trading, and I literally felt like this is a drug. Like I can't, like it was way too much. Like I did it for like literally 2 hours, and I was like, that's enough. Like I'm never doing this again in my life. Thank you. Shout out to Rachel, who my DeFi diva, who got me involved in that. But now I like to invest things, and then 3-6 month horizons for certain things, and then obviously long term for others. But I've done well with that kind of strategy.
So Jacki, the bull is coming, as you said. It's like headed right for us. You now have money from this pension. Why don't you invest? Financial advice.
So, the funny part was buying out the lump sum. If I rolled it over to a traditional IRA, I didn't pay any taxes. So, but to take it out and put it in Bitcoin, I have to pay taxes on it first. So I had to weigh, and it was a considerable amount of taxes because it was like, a considerable pension. So I had to weigh, like, do I just write that off? And there's one, oh my gosh, this is going to make me sound like such a jerk. But,
only when you preface it like that.
I just hate giving lump sums of money to taxes. Like, I just hate, like, I worked for that, I earned that, And now, like, if I make this decision, I don't have to pay taxes, but if I make this decision, I do. I still think, to your point, Jared, I think I'll come out on top with Bitcoin if I just threw it all in there, regardless of taking the taxes off the top. So yeah.
Yeah, this is a conversation I had with a friend of mine recently, a similar conversation. So let's live in the world where you have 100K, okay? Just because we're just going to use it because it's a round number. And you get taxed for some reason at 50%, okay? So when you take that 100K and you put it into Bitcoin, you're only getting 50K. Well, I think Bitcoin from here probably goes 3 or 4x. So you're going to be okay. You're probably going to end up with 200. And then if you sell again, then at 50%, you'd actually be back to your original 100. But, I think getting out of 401ks or getting out of current pension plans is a good thing. If you understand Bitcoin enough, if you know how to store it, and if that's where your conviction is. Because I think one of the things that a lot of people in crypto they don't have conviction. They maybe understand it, they maybe know how to store it, but they don't have conviction. So then when it starts going down, they fall apart. Not one time during this bear market did I ever feel bad. I was like, this is great. Let's go. Sats are cheaper.
I know. When the prices are
I
lower,
was so
you're
excited.
like, just buy more.
Yeah, I was so excited. I'm like, this is so cheap. This is ridiculous. Even now, I think Bitcoin under 45,000 is a steal. And people are going to hear that and be like, nah, man, nah. But like, talk to me in the summer of 2025. Hit me up. DM me. I'm your
If
boy.
you can reach me on my yacht.
Yeah.
I think what
My yacht will be a kayak.
what
Yeah.
concerns me about the upcoming, like, I know everyone's really excited about, BlackRock and Fidelity and all these ETFs and all this. But I guess at the end of the day, how many accounts do they really have? We'll say at the top. It's a click of a button to move markets for them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think, while the promise of less volatility with Bitcoin is sort of the assumption with these ETFs opening up, I think there's going to be a lot of like shaking out moments still. And me personally, I actually think Bitcoin's going to drop again. And then I think we're going to see a couple up and downs before we actually
fully go into the bull.
Yeah.
I agree. December is still a date that I'm watching. That being said, I did put about half the money that was loaned to me for investing in crypto into the market this week. I put it. I'm up on it. I didn't put it at 35. I got in right around the 30 mark, give or take. Because that was my number that I said if we broke that number and I saw it as something that was holding, I was willing. That was the number that, okay, I need to get at least half of it in. But I do still feel that philosophy, Jacki, of what do we do? What's happening in terms of, I still feel like there's a potential December dump as people tax loss harvest, as we maybe see one last rate hike from the Fed. That meeting's coming up on the 1st. I don't think it's happening in the 1st. I think it's going to happen. The next hike is going to happen in December. We just had the Canadian the Bank of Canada hold their rates, but not rule out other rate hikes. So I think, to me, this is a potential that's happening, but I don't see now as being a bad time. I see it as a time to start DCAing rather than opt out. And Jarrett, I agree with your point about 401ks. I'm actually I could contribute a bunch of extra money to my pension right now, and buy myself 2 years earlier retirement. It's still sizable sum of money. It's about 10K to buy 2 years right now. And what I'm actually thinking strategically to do is that for tax purposes, because you talked about 50% taxes if you take profits at the top, use those 401ks, use your Roth IRAs, and any other potential programs that you have in 2025 to help reduce that tax load, so that you're not back at that 100 after taxes. You're maybe at 125 because you managed to squirrel away a whole bunch of money into your 401ks and your Roth IRAs. So
And there's two things to think of when you think about this. Number one is self-custody IRAs. Like, you can move your money into a tax-deferred account, another IRA, and allocate it as you see fit. And there are enough Bitcoin and crypto tools to be in a self-custody. So you have a certain time window to move that money from one to the other. And so if you wanted to not pay taxes because you didn't technically liquidate, you just moved into a self-custody account, you can do that. That's available to people. I don't know about your specific situation, Jackie, but it is a tool for anyone considering that. And then the other is freaking tax deductions, people. It doesn't, just because you liquidate your money doesn't mean you owe that money. It means, okay, as we calculate you at the end of the year, we're going to throw this number off a little bit by this amount in terms of your tax liability. And this is why I'd encourage everyone financial literacy. I think everyone should always have an LLC somewhere that they're taking deductions through. They're justifying and providing a real service. I don't just mean tax evasion, I mean tax avoidance, right? One's legal, the other's not. And always writing down your mileage. Jackie, you're going to go to a tokenization event tonight, which I want to hear about on the show a little bit, if you can talk about it or not. But that mileage is a tax deduction because it's part of your profession. And so it's
I'm so lazy. Just thinking about it, I'm like, no, just pay the taxes.
Well, that's up to you, girl. But like, but it's available. Things like that are available to people. And I estimate a lot of these expenditures. When I drive to Cocoa Beach, that's a tax deduction. If I take this flight down to Colombia, that's a tax deduction. I mean, so like I'm always making sure that, I am racking up more tax deductions than I need at the end of the year. So anyways, food for thought that financial literacy gives you more options and you're not stuck between a rock and a hard place,
Yeah, I have an LLC and I build websites on the side, and I take full advantage of writing off as many things as I can for that business to help lower my tax exposure from my W-2 job, like from the nut that I'll have to pay the government if I have to pay them. So it's pretty great. I think everyone should be doing that. And if you're not, then like Jackie said, at least she's honest. She's just being lazy.
The hilarious part is I have an LLC, and like I did consult and stuff. But honestly, New York State is just so like I hate having this LLC in New York State. Like every month I feel like I get another letter that's like, oh, by the way, you're a business in New York State. We just we have a new fee that we've put on, and make sure you have your poster up. And like there's just so much crap in New York. It's awful. I have to get out of this state.
You're always welcome to Florida.
I know.
Or Canada.
Well, even
better.
like I work remote and I pay state taxes on my paycheck. It's like I'm a remote worker, and nobody else in my company is paying New York State tax. They live in tax-friendly states. So, yeah.
Jackie, I feel you. I pay state tax in Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Oh,
it's just as bad. New York, Massachusetts, and California are always battling for the worst places to have your taxes through. Aussie dropped off, but Jackie, you have to transition soon. Do you want to talk at all about the event you're going to tonight? And if not, that's cool. I can ask you other questions.
No, it's a company that I just kind of like roundabout got invited. They're doing some storage solutions, which I do think is like the next big conversation in all of this. If people don't want to self-custody, handle their own keys and things like that. I mean, I guess there's ways you're not self-custodying, but you're not, there's new solutions coming out where somebody else is handling how do I even say this? Like, I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about, but I mean, it's like, it's such a hybrid. It's not self-custody if you're allowing someone else to,
to custody.
Right.
It's like, it's like managed custody. It's like, it's almost like Gnosis safes. I would almost, if you've got if anyone knows anything about Gnosis safes, it's essentially, it sounds like that's the option that's getting it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you technically have someone else helping you protect your money by having it in a multi-sig situation, but you also get to it's not like a Coinbase situation where you don't really own your funds either.
Correct. And I think this is like, Filecoin's getting a lot of shine, I would say, in the last like couple weeks. I've been seeing them come up everywhere. which I believe they are still part of what Protocol Labs Filecoin is, who is responsible for IPFS. It's the Interplanetary File System. So,
I didn't
I mean,
realize that.
I do think storage is the next layer of this conversation. I think it'll be a big component moving forward.
Yeah, because like, as a web dude, when people talk about right click save, even in NFTs where it's non-fungible, like it's pseudo verifiable or it's pseudo protected because IPFS is just like an Amazon bucket. I literally can go to the original file and I can corrupt the file if I want it. And so it's just like there is some technologies that have to be shored up, which are inevitable to be worked on soon. I didn't realize Filecoin was connected to Protocol, which was connected to IPFS. That's pretty interesting.
Let me look this up for surezies.
For sure.
Well, while Jackie looks that up, I do want to call it Filecoin. It is part of my portfolio, and I'm going to be adding more. It topped out last time at 220, and it's under $4 right now, and it was at 320 this beginning of this week, and it's up 20%, so it's around 375, 380. I think under $5 Filecoin is an absolute steal, not financial advice. But it is their project, and as far as like storage, I think they're the leaders of it. So I don't know if you're looking to get into a coin that's not Bitcoin or Ethereum and that is backed by a lot of people, take $10 and think about Filecoin, not financial advice.
Yeah,
I want to note something though, super important, of that Jarrett mentioned, a $220 like all-time high on Filecoin. Their market cap, the amount of unlocked supply at the time was different. So
Sure.
expecting Filecoin to reach $220 again is not, it's incredibly unlikely. You're at best, I think their supply has grown by about 50%. I don't know that for sure, but I think that's roughly where the unlock is comparatively. So maybe 110 if you're looking at a price point to market cap all-time high, not if they make a new market cap all-time high. So that's really like an important note to make. And there's other coins like that out there that if you're looking back at the market in 2021 and saying, oh, this made an all-time high at this price, make sure you check what the market cap was then and what the market cap is now, because comparing token price to token price is not a true comparison. You need to look at market cap.
I have a question for all of you because I think what Aussie just brought up is super important. And one of my investment strategies is I tend to invest in things that I actually believe in, business case use wise, Filecoin being one, Chainlink being another. So in Chainlink, I mean, I bought in at Chainlink. I think it was already at $18 when I got in, and now it's sitting around like 7 or 8 or something.
Yeah.
But I guess my question to you guys, like, do you feel like you're more bulls or bears when it comes to investing? Because I feel like I'm more of like a bear investor. Like I invest in things that are like they're like solid business use cases, so I expect it to take a long time to like build up over time. And I don't jump in necessarily like when it's bulling.
Okay.
What do you mean by bull and bear?
Like you enjoy bull markets or bear markets better, I guess. Or maybe not enjoy, but like, do you invest knowing that bear markets are coming up and inevitable? And do you move your money because of that? Or do you just like wait those things out?
I move money accordingly. I mean, last market I didn't. I'm 25. I didn't really, and I really only got into crypto and like hardcore investing in the last 3 years. So I wouldn't say last market I didn't, but my whole strategy investing is to take advantage of the cycles, at least in crypto right now. Maybe not so much the stock market, but in crypto, yes.
So
and
you're
you're
more of a bull.
I'm more of a bull, but I do look strategically. I don't necessarily go down, and this is something because I think next episode we're going to talk about our portfolios, our pick 10, or pick 5, or however many crypto projects, my strategy is a little bit, I don't necessarily need to be convinced on that singular project. What I like to do is basket investing. So I really believe in the DePIN or DeFi, decentralized infrastructure, physical infrastructure sector. So I might throw Filecoin. I might throw, there's Akash, which is another one that does some interesting DePIN stuff. But then I might also throw in some much smaller market cap ones in the mix there that I don't necessarily know if they will be the ones that successfully do that thing, but I do believe that could they could be, and when the sector grows, it raises all ships. And so I kind of take advantage of that strategy in terms of, I don't necessarily know that I can be, Warren Buffett and pick exactly the right companies, the right fundamentals, the right team.
You own them, it's easy.
Yeah, but if at the very least, I'm going to choose sectors, and maybe I'll pick 5 in the sector, and 2 or 3 of them might do the same thing. But if at least one of them succeeds, it'll probably carry and balloon my portfolio anyways.
Grant?
I was going to throw it to you.
If I believe in a project, I invest in it no matter what. And if there's a bear market, I'll invest more. I very rarely find projects that I absolutely swear by. Like, I'm trying to even think, TradFi or DeFi, the last project that I was like, I believe in this thing. And don't say Wonderland, Jarrett.
No, you like Cardano though. That I would say that's one that you go to back.
Cardano's one for me too.
Yes, and I would say that, and that you're right about that. I mean, it made up at one point 40% of my entire portfolio, and I haven't reduced that. I've just increased my portfolio in other areas. So I'd say Cardano big time, but I am growing increasingly agitated at Cardanians and some
Cardanians.
of them. Yeah, like I'm wanting more from the community, but they have great projects. And I mean, everything from book.io, which is a phenomenal project on Cardano, which Jacki and I have both looked at. There's just a lot of really cool stuff going on there. But I mean, aside from that, like I invested in Google for a while in the early days because I really did believe in Google in the early days. And by the early days, I mean back with Google Glass. I was looking at buying Google Glass because I just love the tech. And I was challenged, like, why don't you buy that much worth of stock? And I did, and I murdered. Like, I killed it. It was fantastic. But I just don't believe they are who they are anymore. And it's rare that a project like that, DeFi or TradFi, these days, that I'm like, I would put money in that project till the cows come home, bear or bull. So I think it looks on paper like I'm an opportunist. Is it real estate today? Nah, let's liquidate. Let's move over here. Should I get rid of my IRA? I have an IRA, Jacki, and it's been building since 2008. And it's a large chunk of my TradFi portfolio, and it's Vanguard 500 index fund. And I would be shocked if I have even made 5% a year.
Yeah.
And
there's a reason why my dad is considering giving me more money.
The promise of 8 to 11% if you just buy the S&P 500. We've never seen a continued inflation like we have of late, and it has stolen most of my earnings up until then. So I'd say at this point, I'm just not. I look like on paper that I'm an opportunist. But Jacki, if I came across more projects, I want to be a diehard believer in a project. But I read the players, and then I read the theory, and then I hear how they got invested, and I'm like, sounds like they're selling hopes and dreams, which is fantastic. But I don't know. Jarrett?
Want to be cognizant, Jacki, do you need to transition?
I definitely need to transition, unfortunately, boys. I will leave
And
the
girls.
stream up, boys and girls. I'm leaving the stream up on LinkedIn, so I'm just going to go mute and turn off my camera so that it can stay on.
Sweet.
So I could call in. Bye, Aussie. We love you. Good luck.
Yeah.
Bye, Aussie.
But
I could call in and
Yeah.
not. I probably shouldn't have my face on while I'm driving because I feel like that would just be distracting. Or I can let you two gentlemen take the
It's up
rest
to
of
you.
here.
You make the call from the road.
So make the call from the road.
You make your decision from the road.
I'll jump back on. I'll just
Cool.
I'll switch over. Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
So
See ya.
Grant, I'm like you. I buy right now no matter what, and in a bull, I'm gonna probably buy less. I was thinking about this last night. I'm gonna pull back my DCA. So say my DCA is 100% right now of money to be invested, and it goes into whatever I'm buying in crypto. In the bull, I think I'm only gonna invest like 70% of it because I just know that it's gonna come down eventually, and I think having that 30% cash on the side will allow me to both put the 70% in to get exposure all the way up, but then also have cash on the side. So when the next bear does come, the net debt cycle comes, or whatever else is crazy going to happen in this world, then I'll be, I'll have a little bit on the side ready to go. And so that's definitely,
That's it's like a profit taking, and this is the tough thing with dollar cost averaging that has always confounded me. We talk about dollar cost average, and the market goes down, and we decrease our dollar cost average. Then the market goes up, and
we decrease or we increase our dollar cost average.
No, the goal is always to decrease.
Right. Decrease our dollar cost average. Sorry. Maintain our DCA. Got you.
Yeah. And so as it goes down, let's say your actual average is like $100 cost average. You follow the market down, it goes down to $50 per unit, and you're like, great. The market goes up to $60 a unit, and you're like, wait, if I take profits now, Allison is up in the evening. Good evening, Allison.
There she is. Hey,
there
Allison.
she is. So as the market returns, and you say, I'm going to, from 100% investment to 75% investment, you're now slowly increasing your dollar cost average. So here's my question about dollar cost averaging that has always confounded me. I buy like a machine with dollar cost averaging as the market's going down. I sell on intuition because I'm trying to take profits. I'm trying to make sure that, I came here to make money. And so if I am dollar cost averaging in on the way up, so do you have like 75% if it gets to, in this example, $60, and then 50% if it gets to $70? Like, how are you going to throttle your dollar cost average? And when are you just going to invert and take profits?
So I don't, I've not really taken profit in crypto, which is why my bag is the way it is, because I've just been holding. And I think that's the best for anyone who's new or anyone who's old. Just keep holding on. But I do think at the top of this next, or even 80% or whatever, there will be a number. Allison said, I was listening on X, but I don't think you saw my comments. No, we did not see your comments, Allison. They didn't come through. Maybe we have a technical issue here. But Grant, to answer your question, I am going to slow down the DCA after Bitcoin hits 50 on the way up. Once it hits 50, I'll probably go my DCA down to that 70-30. And then if it hits 100, I may honestly go down to 50-50. And then really just start to put less money in, because I know if this thing goes, the bigger it goes up, the bigger it's going to fall. I've now seen two of these in 2017, 2018, and 2021 and 2022. And, it will go up and it will go down. This is like now what we do. These boom and bust cycles. So that's a really good question. But on the profit side, I really haven't thought it through, and I definitely need to think it through. This is a good reminder. What you're doing is reminding me that I need to have it, and anyone who's investing, you need to have your plan set so your emotions don't take control when you're like, when it goes up 10K more, then I'll sell. Because we all did that on 2021 and 2022 on some coin. Maybe not on all coins, but on some coin or some project or some NFT. We were all, waiting for it to go up more. And Aussie isn't on. I don't know if he can still hear me, but Aussie had been saying that he was going to wait for September and October because they were going to go down. And we've seen it only go from 25 to 35. And he's still now saying there's going to be a dump in December. I don't think there's going to be. And I think he should be getting way more money in the market now. because the difference, it's also just peace of mind. Once you put money in the market, for me, I don't even think about it. It doesn't even exist anymore. It's gone. It's in my cold storage. It's gone. Like I don't touch it. I actually
Interesting.
physically can't even get it out if I need it to sell because it's not even in this country, right? Like there's, so
Yeah. Allison
um,
says you might not have taken profits, she's saying, but you have your crypto for when you want them. And then she goes on to say, it must be long term. This is for your pension. And I agree with investing in general is technically like across the board. It's for the rainy day. It's for the old age. The social contract is gone. I got to be able to take care of myself. And
yeah.
any investing anyone is doing, whether it's real estate or crypto, I present for their consideration. It is for the long term. But in terms of the long term, you got to preserve your pension. So if it goes all the way up to 150 but comes down to 60, how much less of a retirement did you leave on the table because you didn't take profits? And that then assumes, and I know there's a flaw with that thinking. The flaw with that thinking is you sold at 120, you knew to write it down to 60 and then to reinvest and to write it back up, and now you've increased by a third. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Grant, I love it, everything you're saying, because I think that these are good things that we should continue to discuss openly, these hypotheticals.
Yeah.
And I guess the question I have is, what if you never sold the Bitcoin you bought? And what if you never sold the Google stock you had until today? What would that look like?
Yeah. Yeah. And the what ifs are very, very difficult because I think you can die and drown in what
In
ifs.
what ifs?
You know,
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Allison says there won't be able inflation related pensions for your able inflation. What does that mean?
The able inflation related pensions for your age as there is for my age.
Yes.
Everyone. Okay, I get what
Yeah.
Allison's saying. Yeah. Allison, I completely agree that there won't be basically inflation adjusted pensions for our
Yes.
age as there are for you and your demographic. I completely agree with that. I mean, like if you look at the landscape of the United States, Grant and I probably will not see, and Jacki will probably not see Social Security.
No,
Yet we've been
I
paying.
definitely won't.
Yeah, yet we've been paying into it since I was 14, ringing at a supermarket.
Yeah.
And that's just uncomfortable. Brian said, I'd like to know how high Bitcoin has to go for Jarrett to, I don't know what TP.
Take profits.
Ooh, Brian with the slang. To take profits and buy some comfy furniture for his office. Well, Brian, hopefully one day you come visit me. The issue with this office area is that I have it's like on top of the roof. And so I have a very small little walkway, and to get up to it, and I think Grant may be coming to Columbia soon. So I'll have, what, Brian, I'll take a picture of it and post it on LinkedIn, and it will, because Grant will have to like curl into this little walkway thing. And then I'll say, Brian, that's why I have absolutely no furniture. And on my other floor, because it's a 2-floor, the other floor, I don't have a lot of furniture. I have the green chair. Maybe you've seen in my YouTubes. That is a child's love seat because it's the only thing that fits in my elevator. My elevator to come up to my floor is only 27 inches wide. Now, 27 inches, I'm going to put that into the rest of the world so everyone knows what I'm saying. It's less than 70 centimeters wide. So I can't get anything. I went to essentially what is the IKEA, even though there now is IKEA in Bogota. I went to the IKEA and I had my ruler and I was walking around measuring everything and nothing will fit.
Oh my gosh.
And some of it won't even fit in the stairs because I'm in a very old building relatively in Bogota. It's not like the newer buildings that have a lift both for, the people who live in the building and like the service elevator. So anyways, Brian says, just kidding. Haha. No, it is a conversation. It is a topic of conversation. And actually what I do hope to get up here is bean bags because I can squeeze those up the stairs.
You could at least get bean bags up. Inflatable furniture. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's back. I've seen that at stores, inflatable furniture. Do you remember when that was a thing?
Oh yeah, water beds. I had all that. We had all that stuff as a kid. So, I mean, why is the market rallying? Do we know? What is your hypothesis?
Yeah, we know. It's because Bitcoin, the iShares ETF got posted on the NASDAQ.
I thought it then got pulled.
It got back up.
Interesting. Okay, but Ethereum ETFs did not have this reaction.
Ethereum didn't have this reaction because they were futures. This is for the spot Bitcoin ETF, which is completely different, as you know. So
if we saw a spot ETF for Ethereum, your hypothesis is that you'd see a similar bump?
you would see a bump. I don't know. That's crazy to think about. Would it be a similar one? I'm not even sure. So Bitcoin went basically from around 26, 27 to 35, went up about 8,000 in percent terms. I don't know. What's that? 20% or something like that? I got CoinMarketCap. Let me just look right here. The CoinMarketCap says the Bitcoin 7 days, 23%.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin in this year is up 100%. It is up 100%. So back when we were in 17, 18 land and we were saying, hey, we all probably should buy, and it was an interesting comment that I think Jacki had today too, which is like, it was kind of like, look, no matter where the price is, Jacki seems to feel FOMO, and that's tough. Because we've just had a bear. We're still in the bear, but we've just had a very down market for the past 16 months, where prices have been under 25, under 30 for sure. We've had great buying opportunities. It's interesting, the psychology where as a mass, we don't buy,
Yeah. Well, in the psychology of all this is funny because,
That's
go ahead, Jacki. You're here.
Jacki's there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was like, I'm going to be like posting online a live car accident of me. And like, I'm not going down that way. So I turned my camera off. But I was going to say for me, like, working in Web3, like my is following the bear as well. So I just didn't have expendable income to like, it's kind of getting this pension payout and like some other things, coming back in now. And it's like, I can get it now, but I'm like mad about it that I wasn't, totally stacking.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, but Jacki, you're here now, and I still think it's a really, really, really good time to get some money in. Once again, not financial advice. I even hate the fact we have to say not financial advice because there's this entire system that, and I know Jacki is a part of this system, so Jacki, don't hate on me, but I think it's ridiculous that we have to go to other people to tell us what we should do with our money, right? Like I don't have to go to the trainer at the gym and ask him what I should do for my body. I can learn on my own and do my own thing. Yeah. I don't need to go to a supermarket and ask somebody what I put into my body.
You can't train people at the gym. But you can't
I should be able to make my
unless
own
you're a trainer.
That's the way the system is set up. Sure. Yeah. But I just think at some point we're getting into a system where, James popped in. James, good to see you. I think we're getting to a point with Bitcoin, especially where even on my last More Than Blockchain episode, go listen to it and come sue me. I'm excited. I'll wait for the notice. I said people should buy $5 of Bitcoin. If you don't own $5 of Bitcoin, go out and buy $5 of Bitcoin. If they want to hold me over the coals because there aren't bigger problems in the world than me giving financial advice and not having my certificate, I'm really excited to have that conversation. I'll give you the $5. In fact, the Venezuelan guy who I speak with now daily, I'm not going to call out his name because I don't know if he wants to be outed on the show, but he and I this weekend we're gonna sit down and get him some Bitcoin, and I'm really excited to do that. We're gonna go to a Bitcoin ATM. He's gonna bring some money, and I said once you put this money in, you have your wallet. We're gonna talk about writing down the seed phrase and making sure you're taking care of that. I said, I'm going to send you $5 because I'm really excited you're starting this journey. And I know for you as someone who comes from a high inflation society, this means a lot, And so I do get what Jacki's saying. I can't go to the gym and tell people how to do a pull-up. James says, inflation sucks. Visited LA, got charged $65 for an omelet. Surcharges, mandates, extra fees. Yeah, food is so expensive in the US right now.
Time out. Like this is freaking California too. This is easily 2.5 times what it costs in Florida, right? But go ahead.
Yes, Grant. Florida still has 1990s wages and money. That's very cute. But yes, a 1-bedroom house in Massachusetts is $1 million. So in Massachusetts, in the state of New York, and in California, maybe actually not in Buffalo. Jacki said real estate's pretty good up there.
Yeah.
In major cities in America, stuff is very, 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 very expensive.
Yeah.
Allison said they should buy $100. I'm laughing at friends who have laughed at me being in Web3 and investing in crypto. Yeah. My recent episode, which I talked to Grant about, and Jacki, you're there, you're listening to this, but like, I am no longer, Jacki, you may enjoy this as well because I know Grant and Allison and James, coming 2024, if you have any question about crypto or Bitcoin, you have to pay for my time. That's how that works. Not even financial advice, just any question. And I'll tell you how much I'm charging people, because there's all these kids in college and my graduate work that are come out the woodwork who have been laughing at me, and they're going to be like, hey man, what's this Bitcoin thing? Well, guess what? How much it's going to be? It's 1% of whatever Bitcoin's price is. That's my pricing. So if Bitcoin's at 50,000, I'm 500 an hour. That's how it is. If you want to talk about it, I'm going to definitely, and we're talking about redoing the Not Crypto Bros page as well to make sure that there's a bunch of materials there. But it's really funny. No matter the amount of materials we put up on a website that literally could give people the keys to the castle, we're still human oriented and we still go for the people we trust. So if there's something with real estate, Grant can send me a PDF, but I'd rather be like, hey man, how much is it to get 30 minutes of your time to ask you these questions? So we are headed towards that.
I think so.
Grant, without giving financial advice for you, and I know that you're right now in a moment of transition with your finances, could you give me a portfolio breakdown in percents of where your current investments are between TradFi, basically stocks, IRA, whatever, real estate, and then crypto? Where are they today, and where do you think they're going to shift over the next 12 months as maybe the market starts to shift?
That's a good question. I would have split it probably 65%. Let's just make round numbers because I'm horrible at maths. I don't know off the top of my head, but I would have said right up until this month, my net asset value across the board would have been 60% real estate equity. Probably another 30% TradFi and 10% crypto.
Okay, 60-30-10. That's clean.
60-30-10. Oh, I mean, I'm just giving clean numbers. I'm sure it's off from there. We're dumping a piece of real estate, and how the buckets shift from there is going to be kind of funny and weird because it's cash when you sell, and then you have to look at long-term capital gains, short-term capital gains. So do I need to roll into another piece of real estate? I don't think so. But then, I'm at a juncture where is this going to get dumped in? Is this going to stay in real estate and get dumped into another piece of property? Are we going to shore up our crypto? I can say pretty emphatically, we will not allocate much to TradFi. In fact, if anything, I am considering looking at this IRA I've got, which is all Vanguard 500 index fund, S&P 500 basically. And it makes up a huge chunk of that TradFi chunk. And just allocating that, maybe splitting it down the middle. I don't even know how I'm going to allocate that into crypto and real estate. I am still super bullish on real estate in general. I know it's a mire for a lot of people. I know that rents are horrible. I know that no one likes to talk about it. It's easy to hate on landlords and BlackRock for owning all the property. But if the point of wealth building, and I believe the point of wealth building is to build freedom. How do you get free? And this is financial advice. I don't believe that there's such a thing as passive income, but I do believe in unearned income. And that by definition with the IRS is stuff that I did not trade time for dollars for. It's income that came in that I did not trade time for dollars for. I have yet in crypto to have received anything like that. And if Bitcoin goes to 100,000 on my holdings, then my pie chart shifts because my crypto has gone through the roof. That's great. Hodl till when? What is the moment? And I know that Aussie's plan is Ethereum nodes and all this stuff. To me, there's still a lot of unknowns with that. So I think in my world, as my wealth pies, that freedom is only for the owners, not the renters. Absolutely, Allison. Allison says that freedom is for the owners, not the renters. Absolutely. But I do believe that we could say the same about Bitcoin. Those borrowing against crypto are enslaved, and those lending in crypto are more in the position. I absolutely believe that dynamic is true. I don't believe that there's an ethical or moral quandary there in any way, shape, or form. I believe at the individual level, there is like ethical issues. But the boons of society generally always go to those who become owners and doing whatever you can to do that. But it comes back to cash flow. What is, if I have $1 million in Bitcoin, like I can't just assume that I know how I'm going to cash flow. And until that money, like let's say it goes to the moon and you got $1 million in Bitcoin, you still have to figure out how I offboard it, how I take profits, or how I invest it in a way that I can get cash flow. Because I just heard Grant Cardone speak recently, and he had people in the room raise their hand. He said, "Who in the room is an actual millionaire?" And a handful of the people were really hesitant, and then they kind of raised their hands. And they said, "Hey, what did you worry about before you were a millionaire?" And they said, "I worried about making money." They said, "Once you became a millionaire, what do you worry about?" And the answer to a person was, "Now I don't know what to do with it. Like, now I've got to pay lawyers and accountants, and they're eating into that money just to tell me where to put it so that it doesn't dissipate." And so it's a whole new set of worries. I would rather have 60 to 80K a year free cash flow than $1 million in Bitcoin.
And that's where we disagree.
Yeah.
Because 60 to 80,000 won't mean anything in 10 years. And that million in Bitcoin, if I just hold it, may grow.
60 to 80 in free cash flow will, hands down.
Not if you're staying in the United States, in where I would live in the United States.
But think about the assumptions you're making and the ones that I'm not. The assumption you're making is that it's your only income. The assumptions is that I'm living on that alone. But if we're talking about free cash flow, it's just that extra that keeps flowing in based on all my other efforts. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
but you're right. Some can't live on it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's not Massachusetts, man. Just be straight up. The average rent in Boston right now is like $2,800.
Yeah.
So you take that 60 and you pay taxes on it or whatever. You're saying 60 after taxes, I'm assuming. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it gets tight really quick with the price of food and the price of fuel and the price of transport and the price of everything else.
Yeah.
And that's where I really think that for me, long term, there's a certain amount of Bitcoin I'm not going to sell, probably for 15 years, just because I've seen other people sell other things and just been like, well, I wish I'd held on to that. A lot of that's real estate. Some of it's stocks. But it's just kind of like the longer you hold things, the better. If, like you said, what always goes back to conviction and what you were saying about, like, you have to believe in it, I think. Allison, thank you for that compliment. I am worth 500. Thank you so much. And that's at 50,000. We'll see. Jacki, for you, I want to ask you that question. Jacki, are you still on? We can't see you.
Yes, I am.
Okay, amazing. For you, when you think about the next bull run, when things get crazy, have you thought about if and when or where you're going to take profits? Is there a point? Are you, and this is what I was thinking about last night, so I'll give you the context. Are you thinking about when it hits a certain price, so you're not being greedy compared to your initial investment? Or are you thinking about the dynamic of the cycle? You know, like if Bitcoin hits 100K by December of 2024, and you said when it hits 100K, I'm going to sell, or are you not going to sell because you're like, normally it bleeds through the next summer? It's normally the high is a year out from the halving date, which would still be into April of 2025. How are you thinking about that?
I'll answer two ways. Historically, first of all, I've never cashed out my Bitcoin. So my Bitcoin goes in cold storage. Jarrett, I'm very much like you. It stays there. I don't think about it. I don't look at it. I don't even know how much is honestly in there right now. I have a goal of how much I want just for the rest of my life. But I look at Bitcoin as like my 401k. I look at it as my pension. I look at it as like, if I have to dip into it and take from that, that's a sad day. So I'm pretty much taking profits off of like alts and other projects and things like that.
Yeah, I love that because that's how I see Bitcoin. I don't, back to Brian's point, if I have to sell my Bitcoin to buy furniture, Brian, you should bring a pillow when you come over because you'll be sitting on the floor, my guy. I don't see it as a sell thing. I think it's going to be good as an exercise of discipline, but also as an experiment, a financial experiment to hold Bitcoin for 10 years. Most people say if you hold it for more than 4 years because of the cycle, you will probably be in profits, and that will be a good thing. But I think anyone who's held Bitcoin 10 years, and there's probably a few people on the planet who have done that, they're, they could walk away at any time. And they've built that security system to do that, even just by selling a piece of it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It is an interesting one, but I do think the timing of when you sell is interesting, Grant. In the same context, is there a moment where you think you're going to start to sell off, or is it more related as far as price, or is it more dictated by the dynamic of the market with you saying, hey, historically, it should go this long before it, the wave breaks and crests?
It's on an investment by investment basis, and I think it's both, but it's more market driven. Meaning, like on the real estate and the property we're selling, there's life circumstances that are occurring. And then, so that dictates stuff, and that stuff you can't predict or plan for. And is kind of, you're not thinking about profitability necessarily. You're thinking, well, the circumstance demands it, and all of my philosophies be damned, I got to do something about it. But in this particular case, it was the market cycle of going, listen, Airbnb's waning a little bit, which made this property cash flow positive. That's not a big deal because we've seen that come and go a little bit in the past. But then on top of that, it's been largely a seller's market. And so all those three things combined have led us to make that decision. When it comes to crypto, I'm not entirely sure, quite honestly, because I have, sold earlier than hindsight would forgive me for. But who I was at the time, I always came out generally ahead. And so it's like, well, I don't regret, I don't feel guilty about the profits I've taken. So if that's the case, then I'm not entirely sure when it comes to crypto. I do think I am now, knowing what I now know about TradFi and even with compounding, like my Vanguard 500 index fund has been compounding this entire time. And with the compounding, I don't think I've made more than 6%. And so it's like, wait, you're told about compound interest, yes, but we've had up markets and down markets, and I've kept putting in even in down markets, yes, but the level of inflation, it's like this is not moving, like it's not moving the needle. So in this case, this is not exactly market cycle, but market conditions that go, hey, crypto wasn't around, and though I may or may not believe in the huge macro crypto narrative, anything falling short, if people are 50% wrong about where crypto will be, where Bitcoin will be after the next halving, and where Bitcoin will be in the next 10 years, even if they're 50% wrong, it's still the better of a lot of unknowns. It's an unknown. There's no certainties, and anyone that talks about certainties, they could say, I am certain, but I have no reason to be, or I am certain and I have a good degree of confidence in this logic or that. But that's the thing I've learned about these investments is like the certainty is where people lose. And so for me, I think it's mostly market condition and situation of life than it is price, if that makes sense. Price would be the final stop. Like, am I negative or positive? And if so, how positive? And are there any tax implications? And then life and market cycles dictate a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a really good answer because you added in the other thing, which is just life. Life happens, right? And we're really over time, so I want to just make one last little comment.
Yep.
I'm trying to hold Bitcoin so long that it no longer becomes a tax exposure situation. That banks want to basically multi-sig or hold it somehow and have exposure to it, and they're going to pay me for it. I want to hold it so long that it becomes the scarcity that everyone says it's going to be, to a point where I'm not going to be punished if I ever want to sell it, or I can leverage it to take out DeFi loans, TradFi loans. So I can if I have like, let's say someone has $10 million in Bitcoin, they can take out a loan. And then as the Bitcoin appreciates, they sell that, even if it appreciates at 8% a year eventually, not where it is now, which is pretty ridiculous. So Jacki, if you're still there, Grant, do you want to do shout outs or should we wrap it up? We're a little over time here.
Quick shout outs to Life. Life has been nutty lately for a lot of people. I mean, Aussie has some life stuff that he had to dip for. Jacki's got cool life stuff that she had to dip for. But like, I'm in a weird season right now of like a lot of challenges, but this is the weird flaky, maybe in another show even, well, not even on the Not Crypto Bros, but another show we'll talk about like manifestation, law of attraction, personal development stuff, because stuff is coming at me at a pace that I didn't even realize. So I'm also kind of like blown away by some of that. So shout out to Life, man. It's wild.
Jacki, you wanna do a quick shout out?
I don't think she's here. Yeah, I don't think she's here.
All right, she dropped off. Then I will do a shout out to Allison, James, Jalen. What's up, man? How you doing? Brian, about my furniture. Thank you, Brian, for reminding me to be an adult. And next week, what we're going to do, the four of us are going to do paper trading. So what does that mean? Man. We're going to choose 5 different cryptocurrencies. And we're going to put in $100 or $1,000, doesn't matter, a round number. And we're each going to put in $100 or $1,000. We're going to choose our currencies. And we're going to, time stamp it. So we're going to say, okay, if you buy this much Bitcoin with $500, you choose to make it half of your portfolio, this is how much Bitcoin you'd get. And we're going to, attach the APIs or whatever it needs to be so it can be automatic. And we're going to check in on it from now as we move forward. And if you want to partake, Allison, Jalen, Brian, James, be on next episode, and you could even leave in the comments, hey, I want this much of Matic. I want, maybe not Matic because I know they're changing. I want this much ADA. I want this much Bitcoin. I want this much Ethereum. And know that we're going to have 2. One will just be Bitcoin. One will just be Ethereum. And one will, these are like the control, if this were a randomized control trial. One will be Bitcoin, one will be Ethereum, and one will be 50-50 Bitcoin Ethereum, just so we can see how we would have done against just having bought either one of those 3 portfolios. So tune in next week, bring your things. You get to choose from 5 cryptocurrencies. They can be any cryptocurrency you want, but we do want to keep the number to 5 because we know, Aussie could bring us with 20 great projects he's been looking at, but it's just going to get out of control. So we'll see everyone next week. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure wherever you are to subscribe.
Yep, like and subscribe. Y'all have a great one.